Welcome to the virtual Meet the Candidates Town Hall Forum, hosted by the Warner Robins Alumnae Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. My name is Dr. Rutha Jackson, and I'm co-chair of the Warner Robins Alumnae Chapter's Social Action, Political Awareness, and Involvement Committee. With over 300,000 initiated members, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is a nonpartisan organization committed to public service in local and global communities. Our national president is Elsie Cook Holmes. The Warner Robins Alumnae Chapter has over 100 members, 160 members, implementing programs in Houston, Blakely, Pulaski counties. Our chapter president is Danielle Little, and I bring you greetings on her behalf. Please help me welcome my co-moderator, Shelby Coates, 41 NBC anchor.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jackson, and good evening. Voting is extremely important, and we're glad that you joined us for this voter education forum so that you can learn about your local candidates running for Houston County Board of Education Post 2, Post 4, and Post 6 seats. My name is Shelby Coates, and I'm an executive producer and evening anchor with 41 NBC here in Middle Georgia. And I just want you to know I have a passion for education, political, and consumer reporting, and I am so happy to be here. All right, well, we have all of the candidates. They were all invited. However, Lori Johnson, Post 2 candidate, and Jarrett Davis, Post 6 candidates, they were not able to attend. So let's start off by meeting Post 2 candidate Yolanda Franklin. All righty, thank you so much for joining us. Within a 1-minute time limit, please. Please briefly share some information about yourself, your vision, and why you decided to run for this position. Ms. Franklin.
Thank you so much to the Warner Robins Alumnae Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, Dr. Ruth Jackson and Shelby Coates for hosting this professional candidate forum so that the community can get to know each candidate. I'm so excited to be running for the Houston County Board of Education, home to a growing and progressive district of over 30,000 students. My name is Yolanda Franklin, and I was born and raised right here in Warner Robins, Georgia. I was educated in the Houston County school system. I've raised my 4 beautiful girls, the oldest being in the Army for 12 years. I have a doctor at Emory/PT Solutions. One's in cybersecurity in Atlanta, and my youngest is a sailor in the Navy, who were also educated in the Houston County system, where I have and still volunteer, which is a passion of mine. I have a master's in accounting and project management, and I will be walking across the stage in June with my doctorate in theology. I work in the Department of Defense. I've been there for over 30 years now, working on very high visibility classified programs in financial management, working with a number of stakeholders. So this gives me the expertise we need as a team of team building. So it'll be easy to represent our community's voice in the public education, providing citizen governance and knowledge of the community's resources and need from our Board of Education for positive change. My vision is to foster a successful working relationship that includes the voice of students, parents, teachers, and residents of our county. That's why I'm running for the Board of Education Post 2, because I believe in strong education, strong schools, and strong communities.
All righty, thank you so much, Ms. Franklin, representing Post 2 there. Now let's meet the candidates for Board of Education Post 4. We have Terry Murray and John Nichols, and both of those will be coming on the screen shortly. Within 1 minute time limit, please briefly share information about yourself, your vision, and why you decided to run for this position. And we will start with, I guess, Mr. Nichols.
Thank you, Shelby. Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Appreciate the opportunity to come and be a part of this evening. I am a lifelong resident of Houston County. I'm a product of the Houston County Board of Education. And for many years now, I've been serving in the community in many capacities. Uh, I'm not going to go in and name those because it takes too long, and I've got less than a minute now. So my passion is kids. We've got 33,000 kids. We've got another 5 or 6,000 employees, and we've got parents to go along with that and grandparents also. So this might be, the Board of Education might be the largest city we have in Houston County. And decisions made for the school system are very vital and very important to the future of our county, our kids, our county, and our nation. I know that I love to serve. And I believe that I have the best interest of all those citizens that are in Houston County. And I want to be able to help continue not only the great system we have, but also look at better ways that we can be ready for the future.
All righty, thank you so much, Mr. Nichols. I do want to make sure we mention that Terry Murray is not here, but we do have Mr. Nichols running for our post 4 seat for the board. Thank you. Now let's meet the candidates for Board of Education Post 6. We have Tim Baggerly, Jeremy Furman, and Mark Ivory. And we have all three here with us tonight. Within a 1-minute time limit, please share brief information about yourself, your vision, and why you decided to run for the position. We will start with Mr. Baggerly, and then Mr. Furman, and then Mr. Ivory. So Mr. Baggerly.
Dr. Jackson, the Warner Robins Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, fellow candidates, the educational community of Houston County. I was born and raised in Overland Park, Kansas. The United States Air Force brought me south of the Mason-Dixon line in 1981. And I've been down here ever since. I finished a doctorate with the University of Phoenix, doctorate in education, educational leadership. And I found a passion in our school board here in Houston County. It's an honor to be running. Again, my name is Dr. Tim Baggerly, and running for post 6. My vision, I see board members being that coordination piece that makes sure that each member of the educational community so that all the voices can find a solution in their educational experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Furman.
Thank you so much to the Delta Sigma Theta sorority for the opportunity to be here. My name is Jeremy Furman, and my vision for the Houston County school system is that we are pioneers in the 21st century and leaders in education, not just here in Middle Georgia, but all over Georgia and beyond. I have a vested interest in the success of our schools because my daughter, who was born on Friday, will graduate with the class of 2040 from here. And I want her peers, and the more than 30,000 other students that we serve to be as prepared for the real world as possible. I'm running for those in the classroom that feel like no one is paying attention. And I stand with the teachers just like I stood with them during the 2020 shutdown. And honestly, I will never forget how we banded together to literally reinvent how we did our jobs. Being a band director gave me the experience of being a bridge between the district and parents. And I saw firsthand what can happen when a community comes together toward a common goal. In under 10 years, I was blessed to be elected the Teacher of the Year at 2 different high schools in 2 different counties. And I believe my skill set and fresh perspective would be an asset to the school board to make informed decisions about our future. And I want to give back. And this is the best way I think I can. Post 6 is an at-large seat, and if elected, I will endeavor to represent all 163,000 and more citizens to the very best of my ability. So visit votefurman.com to learn more about me, and follow me on social media at votefurman. Thank you.
All righty, and Mr. Ivory.
Mute.
Oh, he's still muted.
Unmute. Unmute yourself.
My bad.
There we go.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson and Ms. Coates, for inviting me this evening. Thank you, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. I appreciate it. There was a little hiccup. So anyway, my name is Mark Ivory. I'm a disabled veteran from the United States Army. I'm a native of Houston County. I have two kids that came through this county, Marquez and Marcus. And my wife is a native New Orleans, so we all reside here in Houston County. Put two kids through the system. I'm a product of the system. I graduated from Northside High School. I was Teacher of the Year at Bleckley County High School and Teacher of the Year at Thompson Middle School. At Thompson Middle School, I served there for 17 years as the athletic director. And can you guys hear me?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I served for 17 years as the athletic director, and a lot of my duties were, among my duties, were to help set budget and policy for all of athletics in the county, not just for my school, but for all of the athletes in the whole county. I'm excited to be able to run for Post 6. I retired last year from the school system after being at Thompson for 17 years. And I'm just excited to run right now. My vision is to be an advocate, a voice for the children of Houston County, for this community, all the stakeholders, and really just to see our school system move forward. Excited to see what the future holds for Houston County school system. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you to all of our Post 6 candidates for your answers. And now I'm going to turn things back over to Dr. Jackson, who will ask the first question, starting with the Post 2 and Post 4 candidates. Dr. Jackson.
Thank you. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to answer a question. In this round, Post 2 and Post 4 will answer together. Question: if elected, what are some collaborative measures that can be implemented to ensure that the voices of students, parents, teachers, administrators, and cafeteria custodial staff are heard? Ms. Franklin. Unmute.
Thank you so much. Sorry about that. One of the things that I would say is focusing on serving our children, ensuring that every deliberation, decision, and action reflects the best interests of every student that we serve, knowing that no child is more important than any other one, making sure that we would implement what I call a town hall type environment where the community, teachers, students, custodial staff can all have a voice and be transparent amongst the board and foster positive relationships.
The same question goes to Post 4, Mr. Nichols.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. I appreciate the opportunity to respond. Because I've had the opportunity to serve on two school board councils, one at Thompson Middle School, one at Northside High School, I've been able to see this already in action. Northside High School, we were working on just exactly what you're talking about with many nonprofits, many of the administration, many teachers, and many parents prior to COVID. And unfortunately, COVID put a halt on that because for the past 2.5 years now, it's been very, very slow in getting back up and running again. As far as Thompson Middle School, and for both of those, you've got Miss Terry at Northside High School, and you've got Miss Chadwick over at Thompson Middle School that I've watched firsthand that are doing a very good job in bringing together not only the kids, not only the parents, but the teachers, and also those nonprofits that can help each one of those. So I believe that there's a lot in works already. But I do believe that if given the opportunity, and we peel back the onion of opening up society even further than where we are right now, that we can see that happen even further. So I'm very proud of what is happening. I just know that we need to move forward and continue that work, so that we can see exactly what you're asking about move forward.
Yeah. Thank you all for your answers. Now, let's hear from our candidates for post 6. Post 6 candidates. We'll ask you the same question as the others, and each of you will be given 2 minutes to answer. Question: if elected, what collaborative measures can be implemented to ensure that the voices of students, parents, teachers, administrators, cafeterial, custodial staff are heard? Mr. Bagley, the first question.
Yes, Dr. Jackson, thank you for the opportunity to answer this. This is right in the heart of my vision for Educational School Board. Each members of our educational community, from the school board to administrators, teachers, students, and their parents, have got to have an equal voice. I see the school board almost as a choir director would ensure that each member of the voices of those choirs have an equal and harmonious voice with that. The question, we talk about collaborative. Of course, the technology seems to be the obvious answer to come together, but that would be a good way, just as we've done with this forum here, is to communicate via emails or text messages or whatever those technical services. But where the rubber meets the road, Dr. Jackson, is when we go face to face and we can see those nonverbals. We've had my candidates and I now have had we've had both face to face with an audience, and we've also been in a studio. And I'm telling you, that was the most difficult experience that I had, because I had no positive feedback at all with their teachers. Live for that. They live for that aha moment. And I think it's critical that once we get on each other's calendars and we get together in a forum like that, then we can communicate and we can coordinate and make sure, again, like I mentioned in my opening moments, that we develop practices.
Having a difficult moment right there. Dr. Bagley, can you hear us? Okay, kind of faded out on us. So we may swing back around and give him that ending that he wanted to put out there. All right. So next, we're Mr. Jeremy, Mr. Furman.
Yes, ma'am. So the simple answer to this is we need to have candor. We need to be willing to have those difficult discussions because, again, they may be difficult, but they are necessary. And collaboration is kind of a buzzword in education right now. But having teacher advisory councils, when I was in Liberty County, I served on the superintendent's teacher advisory council. And what that group did was we were kind of the thought leaders, and we would give input on district-wide initiatives and what was good and where the areas for improvement are. So I think implementing something like that, perhaps using all the teachers of the year for all the schools sitting together, talking about what's working well and could be improved on. And not just for teachers, but like expand that to the unsung heroes, the bus drivers, the secretaries, the people that cut the grass, that do all the things behind the scenes that sometimes don't get acknowledged. For the parents, we have PTAs, we have sports boosters, we have band boosters. And I think leveraging those groups and having them talk not just within themselves, but understand that it's not just their one school, it's the whole county. Because, bouncing off ideas of each other, sometimes that's helpful. And then for the students, how we can listen to them, having like a mock or student led board of education, kind of like like have all the senior class presidents, maybe they serve as the mock school board for students to get their perspective, because honestly, they're the future. And sometimes it's been my experience that they know what's going on and they have really good ideas too. So listening to them. And with technology, kind of what Mr. Baggerly was saying, with how easy it is to, from the comfort of your own home, to talk to anyone and not have to drive 30 minutes, we can make that happen. And I think if we leverage all that and we work together, we can work collaboratively to move this county forward.
So, Mr. Ivory, the same question. Unmute, 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 unmute. Yeah.
I'm gonna get it right after a while. Each one of our schools, from my understanding, has a parent involvement coordinator. I know I've worked with one at Thompson Middle School, and I know there's one at Northside Middle, but I think all of the schools have those. We need to get our parent involvement coordinator to get information from those parents, which come from those students, and we can collaborate, get their feelings, get their understanding. But I really would like to see us kind of like what we do school board meetings, for us to meet at a location. So we have 5 posts. We have 7 in all, but 2 of those posts, post 6 and post 7, are at large in education. So let's just say post 1. We could set up a meeting at post 1, a school in post 1's district, and invite a post 6 or post 7 at large school board member to that meeting. And we just have a meeting and get all the thoughts and all the input from those family members or bus drivers or teachers, and so forth, and take notes on all of these things, and then take all the things from post 1, post 4, post 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, bring all that back and let's everybody get our heads together. And that way we can see any kind of issues that we're having with each one of these districts, or with the students, with the parents, with cafeteria workers, bus drivers, and then we can collaborate, put our heads together, and come to some decisions, how we can make things better, or what things that we're doing that is really good, how we can expand upon it. Not saying everything we'll talk about will be negative, because our county is a very good county. We have a lot of positive things going in our county, and there are some things that can be improved also. So I think doing it that way, you can get input from a lot of people from different places at the same time, and then bring all that information back and put our heads together and get some things done.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Mhm.
Dr. Bagley. We are going to give you an opportunity to get your last few minutes in. Can you hear us now? He's still having difficulty.
Technology.
Yes, it's a work in progress. All right. So thank you so much for your answers. In 2 minutes, what should the district be doing to support the social, emotional, and mental health needs of students as we navigate through the pandemic? The first question goes to Mr. Furman.
Social emotional learning is definitely one of my platforms that I feel passionately about, because the pandemic and the 2020 shutdown, I think, fundamentally changed education. And we're responsible for, yes, teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic, but also we need to look out for the mental well-being of the students. Providing opportunities, not just for sports, but also in the arts, where people can come together and work towards something bigger. Like as a band director, something that I did was we would have, I called it leadership symposiums, where we would talk and we would have those hard discussions that need to be had. And there's some great resources out there that talk about, like, everyone has a phone, but what we're lacking is that human to human interaction. And I think not just for the students, but investing in that for our teachers as well, because teachers are stressed out, they're burned out. And something that we could do is just let them have a release valve, like listen to them and listen and get their perspective. And some of it is just as simple as vent. My wife likes to say sometimes when she's not in a great mood, she'll say, I just need to stew about it and vent about it. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just a little bit of someone listening and caring. And I think that's something that we could do to help support the social and emotional learning of students and teachers and staff.
Thank you. Dr. Bagley, you may not have heard the question, so allow me to ask that question again. In 2 minutes, what should the district be doing to support the social, emotional, and mental health needs of students as we navigate through the pandemic?
Oh, gracious, Dr. Jackson, that's a great question. We talk about Covey's fifth habit of highly effective people. It says that we seek to understand first and then to be understood. So many times when someone is communicating challenges that they're having at any level of our community, those people that they're speaking with are listening with an intent to speak. And I think it's really important as an educational leader to target and to understand where the challenges are in our educational community. And that, we talked about in our first question, how we can communicate, whether it be with technology, or the best obviously is a forum, a face-to-face forum, or a parent-teacher association meeting, or a school board teacher. Anytime we can face-to-face and listen. And I think it's important too for the people that are aware of the challenges or that bring those challenges to the decision makers. They need to have ideas, not necessarily solutions, but they need to have ideas, because they're the subject matter experts. They see, for example, teachers see the challenges that their children are going through, their students are going through, or if they're not having the opportunity to communicate with parents, again, to communicate through those lines. Our leaders really need to have a good ear in that. And I think through my educational experience, through my experience through the Air Force, I have learned how to be empathetic with my listening, and I think that's a critical piece as a board member to encourage that throughout the educational community.
Thank you all for your answers. Let's hear from post 2 and post 4 candidates. We will start with Mr. Nichols.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. I appreciate the opportunity to answer. And we're talking about social and
social, emotional, and mental health. Let me ask the question again.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. In 2 minutes, what should the district be doing to support the social, emotional, and mental health needs of students as we navigate through the pandemic?
Well, I do know that one thing that I have discussed and I've asked questions about many times over the last few years, and it's not just about the pandemic, but it is so crucial right now because of the downtime, the self time, the being sheltered, in our homes and not being able to come together. I've asked about, and I know for elementary, it seems like it's a big deal, bigger deal than it is in the middle and the high schools. But, I need as an adult, we need that free time. We need that playtime. We need that on the playground time. And a lot of times back when I was in high school, of course, that was 40 years ago, but we had that little bit of the time. And I know that today in today's school systems, it's very difficult because we try to protect our kids because where many mingle things can happen. But I do know that kids have got to have downtime. They've got to not sit in 7 periods a day with no free time to even think or hardly even go to the restroom or whatever. And, they've been by themselves and now they're coming back together this year. And thankfully, we've been able to do that. They've got to be able to have time to release something, release that time, that stress or that emotion that they've got. Also, I think that having the opportunity to have somebody on the school administration that might be someone they can go talk to. I know there's many teachers out there that allow kids to come into their classroom and sit down and talk. We need more of that. We need to make sure that our teachers, are sounding board. We need to make sure that they've got the skills whenever we're hiring them to make sure that they can listen and they're not just pointers and doers. That they're also listeners. So I think there's many mechanisms in place. We just need to utilize those even better than we do already, so that the kids are comfortable and they trust. When they do come sit down with somebody that's not going to be shared unless given the opportunity or unless they tell that it can be shared. So I just think kids are no different than you and I, Dr. Jackson. They need to be listened to at times, and I think we need to have good ears.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nichols, for your answer, post 4. And we bring in Miss Yolanda Franklin, who is post 2. Same question. What should the district be doing to support the social, emotional, and mental health needs of students as we navigate through the pandemic?
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. That is a very excellent question. The pandemic has created so many challenges, but I do believe the school board is the community's education watchdog, I would call them. And we can do this as a team to ensure our students excel in all areas. Social and emotional learning is the process that all individuals, especially children, go through as they develop those interpersonal and intrapersonal skills that help them to thrive in their own lives as members of our communities, in the entire world at large. It's simple. We students need social and emotional learning skills to succeed in school and in life. And it's interesting you asked because I've actually looked this up for one of my nephews and found that research has shown that schools that have implemented social and emotional learning activities lead to improvement in academic performance, decrease conflict between students, and help students feel more invested in their school community. So I would say that collaboration to develop an understanding on how addressing our students' schools and emotional learning to align with our, the sensitive issues that are like conflict resolution or student discipline, establishing a positive classroom culture early, and by engaging the students in these type of conversations on how they feel when they're learning, playing, and working together. And then also just checking in with the students periodically to reflect on how well their classroom is going and their community is going, and working together to achieve these positive classroom cultures, and even at the home front, because that's what makes them to have us where we have strong education, strong schools, and strong communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Franklin, for that answer. And we're going to navigate back to post 6. I may have not been given Mr. Ivory an opportunity to answer the same question. So we want to be fair to everyone. So, Mr. Ivory, let me ask the question again. What should the district be doing to support the social, emotional, and mental health needs of students as we navigate through the pandemic?
Well, Dr. Jackson, thank you. I think they need to set goals, asking for help, show empathy for those kids. I really believe kids, well, talking about social emotional learning, our kids that lack in those areas, they're going to struggle. It'll cause a high dropout rate with our kids, and a lack of social emotional skills. That's tough. We have to hire teachers that can really listen and hear, our kids. I think a lot of times we make mistakes in hiring teachers, and really not really not mistakes, but we don't get them the support that they need to be able to help our kids in this area. So we really need to do a better job of that, hiring those teachers in order to help those kids. So that's really my answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that answer. Shelby, we ask your next questions.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Dr. Jackson. We're going to go back to Miss Franklin in post 2, and so we will have a new question for her. So, Ms. Franklin, our new question for you would be, new teacher recruitment and teacher retention are reaching crisis levels with nearly 5,000 positions remaining open statewide. What can be done locally to improve recruitment and retention in terms of pay and other incentives? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you so much, Ms. Shelby Coates. I appreciate that question. That's an excellent question as well. Talking about our teachers, the ones that we care about, and have such a passionate about them, because they do come to the classroom. They come to the classroom not because of the pay, but because of their love for the children, for our children. We have to listen more to the people who are cultivating our children's love of learning. Listening to the teachers wanting smaller class sizes to feel supported, less time not taken away from instructions, adequate planning time, allowing education to be a priority, wanting our community members to be proud of their schools. These are some of the things that I've heard, because my sister's a teacher, and just hearing some of the things that they want to see in the classroom. And number one is safe working and learning environment. And so with that being said, if we could hone in on some of those things and make those things a priority for our school system, to make the teachers feel like there's change in the atmosphere, I think it would definitely hone in on the retention for our teachers. They love what they do and they want to be there, but they do have some concerns that we need to hear about. So I would like to see the Board of Education to host those quarterly town hall meetings for our teachers to share their recommendations, and in confidence in their voice to voice those concerns that they have, and look for establishing even a teacher advisory committee so we can help build the retention back up into our teachers, because they do want to be there and want to educate our students.
Alrighty, thank you, Ms. Franklin. We will ask the same question to post 4. That's Mr. Nichols, who's with us tonight. And Mr. Nichols, that question is, new teacher recruitment and teacher retention are reaching crisis levels with nearly 5,000 positions remaining open statewide. What can be done locally to improve recruitment and retention in terms of pay and other incentives? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Coates. I can't speak for the rest of the state. I'm pretty familiar with Houston County. Houston County, thankfully, whenever they have their recruitment, employment fairs, I know that people stand in line in great numbers to be able to try and come and go to work here as a teacher in Houston County. I'm very grateful for that. It makes me very proud to be a citizen in Houston County, and a lifelong citizen, that people want to come here and they want to work here. That means that, I'm not saying that we're doing everything wrong, because we're not. But in order to keep them, you know, and I know that we've got to make sure that our pay scale is up to par. We've got to make sure that it's looked at, not, you know, once every so often, but it's looked at yearly. We've got to make sure that we are listening to the teachers. I believe that there's got to be a quarterly, at least a quarterly meeting in the schools to be able to hear from the teachers. And if that means a box or an email address or something that they send their requests or their conversations to, or their make it betters to, I think that needs to be listened to. I think it needs to be read. I think it's very important that we listen to our administrators. They are the maestros. They are the principals and the assistant principals and those that are part of the administration team. And we've got to be able to listen to them. We need to be very careful that we don't become a central office heavy, non-listening school system. I just believe that we've got to be able to listen to those in our schools that work with the kids every day. Isn't our school system about the kids in the first place? We've got to be able to listen to the front line, to be able to hear what's going on, to be able to make sure that we make the decisions that we make in Perry, Georgia, for the school system. We've got to make those smartly. And by listening to them, that's going to help us make those decisions better.
All righty, thank you very much for that answer. Let's move now to post 6, and those candidates will have the same question, and they're all joining the screen. We're going to actually start with Mr. Ivory here. I'll read the question one more time for all 3 of you. New teacher recruitment and teacher retention are reaching crisis levels with nearly 5,000 positions remaining open statewide. What can be done locally to improve recruitment and retention in terms of pay and other incentives? Each of you have 2 minutes to answer this question, and we'll start with Mr. Ivory.
Thank you, Ms. Coates. This is one of my pet peeves. I've been looking at this thing a while. In order to retain teachers and to recruit new teachers to our county. Simply put, I think money is a big issue for our to retain and to recruit new teachers. We got to pay our teachers a little better than what we're getting paid. We're asking them to do a lot more work. When a teacher first comes into teaching, they don't come in for the money because we already know what we're getting paid. We already know. So they're coming in because their heart is in educating our kids. But with that being said, a lot more has been thrown on the teacher's plate during the time they're teaching. So a lot of teachers are really looking at it like, I love teaching, but you're giving me so many duties, as a teacher. I don't have time to go to plan during the day. I have to cover classes. And a lot of this stems from the pandemic. But it's really weighing heavy on the teacher. So if you're asking me to do a lot more during the daytime and I have to go home and plan at night, grade papers at night, then I need to be paid better. And that's really what a lot of issue is with our teachers. The discipline process in our school system needs to be better. There's no reason for a kid to get written up 5 times before anything is done. And that frustrates teachers tremendously. So we got to find a better process of handling that so that maybe our teachers feel more comfortable in their environment, teaching the kids. As far as recruiting, I go back to the pay. Again, we got to raise our pay to make it more attractive for new teachers to come into our system. And once we get them in, we got to keep them. So, we have to do a better job with our discipline and with the pay. So thank you so much for that question. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ivory. Next, let's go to Mr. Baggerly.
We talk about recruitment and retention. We're talking about both the top and the bottom of a bucket, if you will. And you want to make sure that you learn as a board member, you understand the roles and responsibility of each level, where principals are responsible for evaluating the health of their teachers, and they do that through communicating, finding out the things that are working, things that are not working well, and to make sure that those are addressed. If there's fundage that needed for a specific program, whether it be for football or band or special interest program or even just an educational program that will better the educational experience. The school board members need to be cognizant of that. They need to be sympathetic to that and make sure that they're communicating those to the principals as well. It's really important to find out what's working. And the only way to do that, or one of the best ways we could do that, is to communicate with our veteran teachers and incorporate those things that make the educational experience for them more comfortable, and obviously as a byproduct for the children, the students as well, to have a positive educational experience here as well. But again, we have to understand the roles and relationships for each level of the community, and as a board member, we need to make sure that we're doing that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Baggerly. And let's close out with Mr. Furman.
Yeah, so teachers are in this, they get into the profession for the outcome, not the income. In Houston County, we have one of the highest supplements in the area, which definitely makes it attractive. But teachers are the professionals, and we need to listen to their opinions. And in my experience talking with teachers from different schools, they're scared to speak up because they're scared, and they have great ideas. But I believe we need to validate their opinions, and more importantly, to take action on it. Sir Kenneth Robinson has a great quote that's, the role of education leadership should not be and cannot be command and control. The real role of leadership should be climate control, creating a climate of possibilities. And something that locally that needs to be addressed and must be addressed is the jeans policy. For God's sake, give the teachers their jeans day back. I believe the local jeans policy is absurd, because if you look at some of the Fortune 500 companies, how do they dress? I personally love dressing up. During the shutdown, I gave a whole clinic on how to tie a tie. But, for Teacher Appreciation Week this past week, this week is Teacher Appreciation Week. And to keep them here, we need to give them some sort of release. The district gave a teacher across the board, everyone could wear jeans. And for some people, they can do their jobs better in jeans. And I believe that jeans show school spirit, create camaraderie, and promote a positive culture. Jeans paired with a school shirt. More importantly, colleges are cutting their education programs now, because they don't have enough people. So there's a pipeline crisis coming our way. So what are we doing about it now to address it in the future? Give them their jeans days back.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Furman. Now we're going to go ahead and get to one of my favorite parts of the night. We are going to try to get some questions from our live audience. And so our post 4 candidates, our post 6 candidates who we have on the screen, they will be answering the question first. So do we have any questions from the audience? Going to see if anything pops up. It looks like we don't have any yet. So I will encourage those who are watching, if you have any questions for these candidates, please go ahead and send those in. It looks like we're getting one now. And as we read this one, I encourage our viewers to go ahead and ask. I'm sure our candidates will be happy to answer any questions. All right, here is our first one from Ms. Evans. Let's see. According to Family Promise, HoustonCo.org and StopChildHomelessness.org, there is a rising issue with student homelessness. As an elected Board of Education member, what will you do to address student homelessness in Houston County? Let's go ahead and start with Mr. Baggerly with this one.
My gracious, what a difficult question. And when I say a difficult question, there's so many pieces to that. The fact that we have homeless students here in town, as I'm doing research to understand better the situations that our children in. When we read that 65% of our students are in lower economic conditions, it's one thing you don't want to believe, But then when you have somebody in our local community ask a question about student homelessness, obviously the first thing we need to do is be aware of it. And again, we talk about roles and responsibilities. As a board member, we have to encourage those students to communicate their challenges to their teachers, because the teachers have the ultimate, not the ultimate responsibility, but they have a huge responsibility to learn what's going on in their students' lives. And it's also important, I believe, for the teachers to communicate with the parents of the students as well, and find out what can be done. From a school board perspective, we're responsible for the budget, the school budget, and if there are things that we can pull from the budget to mitigate the challenges, it breaks my heart even to hear and to find out that we have this as a challenge in our community, because we want to believe the absolute best in our Houston County community. But it's real. It's a real challenge that we have. And if there's anything the board can do from a financial perspective, or again, just to encourage communication throughout the educational community, that's the best thing that board members can do, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Furman.
I had the opportunity to go and visit all 39 elementary, middle, and high schools. And, as I journeyed throughout the county, I saw with my own eyes, and it was eye-opening, the disparity between different parts of the county. And specifically to address homelessness, for students, like we got to partner in education. Like, we have a lot on our plate, and addressing the homelessness, it needs to be a wide issue. So we need to partner with the county commissioners, and how can make them aware. What are their initiatives? We can look, I'm not sure how many churches in Houston County, but partner with those organizations to provide for them. The biggest thing is having that discussion and being aware of that. And then we can pass that on to our community partners. But it's important to cultivate the relationship within the community so we can provide for the resources to reach those students. It takes a village to raise a child, and us on the school board is only a small piece of that. We have to work together with other community leaders to make that happen. And I think talking with people and engaging with them and seeing what resources there are will help leverage that, so we can help the homelessness population here in Houston County. As a band director, I would have toiletries and supplies for students that would come in. They used a school instrument because parents couldn't afford one. But I wasn't going to tell them they couldn't take band. I was going to find a way to make it happen for them. And that should be our mindset: is what can we do to reach every student on an individual level and empower them to be successful.
Thank you. And Mr. Ivory. Mr. Ivory, I think you're on mute. We almost got it.
That's the third time.
After this, we're good.
Yes. Well, being an athletic director for 17 years, I witnessed a lot of homeless young people in our school system, especially at my school, Thompson Middle School. And what I've always done is direct that to our office personnel, and also reach out to different organizations like Big Brothers Big Sisters, reach out to the parents in our church community, and try to find anything we can do to help those the homeless student and the family period that are homeless. So I provided a place for them to take showers, down in the gym for give them deodorant, clothes. We have different organizations to bring them different items that they may need, but just trying to find them shelter is a tough thing. Our school board, just being honest, that's not really what the school board is for. Is it to handle that, but we would like to take any kind of insight from teachers that is brought in, for those kids. So it's a tough situation. It's hard. So, whatever we could do to help, I would be there to help. But it's just a tough situation. But reaching out to our churches, and mentor programs would be a great start. And our teachers have to recognize those things. And as a teacher, I mean, you can pick up on kids that are homeless, kids that are wanting or needing. So, and that need to be communicated throughout the school system, not just to the school board. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you, Post 6, and thank you to Ms. Evans for that question. I'm going to send things back over to Dr. Jackson.
Thank you so much. Audience, please see the short forum survey link. The link is in the chat. We ask that you share your thoughts at the end of our forum. Now, we can have questions from the audience. Do we have any questions? Okay. All right. The first question, 2 minutes, goes to Ms. Franklin. The question is, what is your experience with inclusion? And what do you think can be done currently in our school system to increase inclusive practices? Ms. Franklin.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Dr. Jackson. I apologize for the cough. Just getting over a cold, but that is an excellent question, and one that has been in, I would say, definitely the world is paying attention to DE&I initiatives. I am currently, my expertise, I'm currently serving as the vice president of our inclusion community at my company. I work for DOD, and I'm the vice president. And we do various initiatives to make sure that the person can bring their whole self to work. And I would say the same thing for students, teachers, any faculty member, that they can bring their whole self to work, to make sure that they are inclusive, to make sure that we find ways that everyone can be, can play a part of whatever is going on, and it's fair across the board, whether it's culture, background, whatever it is, we're all in this together. And so thank you for that question.
Thank you for your answer. Mr. Nichols, post 4, same question. Let me read it again. Unmute.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. I appreciate the question. Thankfully for, let's see, 1973, so I was about 9 years old. I lived about 5 houses below the projects, and I ran in through our school system from Thomas Elementary to Tabor to Northside. It started back then. It was already being taught and in place to be able to move forward into life, to where I look at all people as important. Everybody that I come in contact with, no matter, I mean, I just had a conversation this afternoon. Everybody's important. And I don't look down or look bad or you know, tip my nose or whatever you want to call it on anyone. So being able to accept everybody as they are, where they are, no matter the color of their hair or what kind of car they drive, or even what kind of, you know, background they come from. I accept that. You know why? Because God made them just like he made me. They are just as important as I am. I'm nobody different. I'm nobody more special than they are. So, you know, the opportunity to you know, be inclusive, it goes all the way back to my childhood. And I believe that God's given me a great opportunity to already work through that and work with that to make everybody important.
Thank you for your answer. In closing, each candidate will have 1 minute to give final remarks and comments. Starting with Ms. Franklin, post 2. Your final comments. Unmute. Unmute, Ms. Franklin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will say first, again, thank you so much for this amazing forum. for your energy and your positiveness. And so I found a quote that said, education is not a line item in the school budget. It is the only item. And I believe that. It takes a village for strong education, strong schools, and strong communities. And I believe that our role as the Board of Education is not to run the schools, but ensure that the schools are well run. I want to immediately participate in all types of educational conferences and workshops as appropriate, be aware of the community and the staff's perceptions of the board. We are leaders in the community, and we have to consistently communicate with the public to keep our community members abreast of the challenges, ideas, progress, good, bad, or indifferent. I want to take the time to make sure that we have a successful school systems. We are the ones that help shape policy and make decisions that affects our students, teachers, parents, custodial staff, and community as a whole. And so our relationship is important. The system is better when we all work together in unity. So I look forward to having forward thinking, inclusive ideas so that we can see them implemented into Houston County. We must maintain the trust of our community with strong education, strong schools, which results in strong education. Thank you. You can find me at website teamyolandafranklin.org and Facebook Franklin BOE Post 2. God bless.
Thank you, Ms. Franklin. Mr. Nichols, your final comments.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson, again. Thank you, Ms. Coates. Thank you, the alumni chapter of the Delta Sigma Thetas. We appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I want to give a quick synopsis of the board member. First, we're to establish the vision and goals for the school district. We're to be aware of policies, laws, and regulations that may impact the district. We're to implement and improve on. We're to hire, fire, and evaluate the school superintendent. We're to adopt and maintain the budget. And we're to be leaders and representatives of the community. I'm very grateful to my parents because they blessed me whenever they named me. My name's Jonathan David, King David and his best friend Jonathan. I consider myself a servant leader. I serve so much across the goal across my community already. And in doing so, it has taught me how to be a leader, and that is to serve first. I am that guy that you can trust to know that I'll be your voice. You can call me, you can discuss it with me. You can find me at Facebook. I put my phone number out there all the time. You can call me, and you can trust that I'm always going to be your ear and your voice in doing the right things for the school board and for our citizens here in Houston County. Thank you again for the opportunity to come and speak this evening.
Thank you, Post 2 candidates, Ms. Franklin, and Post 4 candidate, Mr. Nichols, for joining us and sharing your ideas and goals with the residents of Houston County. It is our hope that you will watch the forum replay and consider other issues on the minds of our audience. We appreciate your willingness to serve our community. Now, Shelby will ask for final remarks for Post 6.
All righty, thank you so much, Dr. Jackson. We are bringing back our Post 6 candidates now, and they will have the same in closing. Each of you have 1 minute to give final remarks and comments, and we will start with Mr. Furman.
Thank you so much again for having me here. I'm asking you directly for your vote for me. Early voting's underway right now, and if you haven't voted yet, I hope you can vote for Jeremy Furman. I'm an independent thinker that wants to improve and advance what we already have here in Houston County. I've walked in the shoes of educators, and I know what needs to be advocated for and where the opportunities for growth lie in our school system. What sets me apart is my age. In Houston County, the voting population ages 18 to 45 make up 49% of the electorate. The median age of teachers in Georgia is 40. I believe generational wisdom and institutional knowledge are critical and must be used when making decisions. But just as important are the lived experiences of my generation. Your vote is your voice, Your vote is an investment in the future. My hope is that you choose to invest in a 2-time Teacher of the Year with a long-term vision and vested interest in the success of this school system. I'm not running against anyone here. I'm running for you. And my vision is that there is not a North Houston or a South Houston. There is one Houston County. And I want you to know, if elected, I will represent all of the more than 160,000 citizens to the very best of my ability. Visit votefurman.com and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at votefurman. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you as well. Mr. Ivory, you have 1 minute for closing remarks. Oh, I thought you were going to unmute this time. I knew you had it this time.
Thank you, Ms. Coates. I was just testing you. No. But I'm asking for your vote. My name is Mark Ivory. I'm asking you for your vote. Early voting started yesterday. My wife and I went out and cast our vote. It'll go from May 2nd to May 20th, and then the actual day, last day to vote is May 24th. I am a native of Houston County. I've been a teacher in this county for 23 years that I taught in this county. I taught 2 in a different county, in different counties. I've been on the front lines with teachers also, and I know exactly how teachers feel. And I can't speak for every teacher, but most teachers. Teachers want to be heard. They want to be heard. They want their voices. They want their opinion heard. And I like to be an advocate for that by being a board member with Post 6. I just really feel that we deserve, our teachers deserve a lot better than what we're getting. And we're not in a bad situation, but we deserve a lot better than what we're getting. And I want to be that voice for them, the real voice for the teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ivory. And Dr. Baggerly.
Oh, my gracious. What an awesome evening. What an awesome experience this has been the last 5 to 6 weeks. During qualifying week, I learned that our school board is not broke. I have attended several board meetings. Our kids are amazing. The Houston County school system has its challenges, and I think we can work together with that. At the forums that we've been in, we've talked about some of those fixes that we can put in those. But for the most part, our school board is doing very, very well. And I want to make sure, as our next school board member in Post 6, that we continue that tradition of excellence through safety and through communication, and make sure that our teachers and our students and their parents are they're adding to the best educational experience for our students. When I finished my doctorate, I developed an educational leadership statement. It starts off very simply by saying that I aspire to become an educational leader that lives his life with purpose, bound by integrity and driven by an unyielding quest for the truth. We need to make sure that our kids are thinking in that way as well, not only in Houston County, but as they become lifelong learners, that we give them good roots here in Houston County, that they can go out and they can make wings and they can be productive members of society. We want to make sure that they have good social values that we've talked about this day, that they feel like that they're included in every environment they're in. Again, my name is Dr. Tim Baggerly. I'm asking for your vote. Early voting is going on now. Make sure you check the web pages on how and when you can vote. And of course, on the 24th of May, I will certainly appreciate your vote. For more information about me, you can go to Doc Bags, that's with 2 G's, Doc Bags, post6.com. May God bless Houston County. And thank you again, Dr. Jackson, for this opportunity to speak with this community.
Thank you all so much for answering those questions and giving our closing statements. Also, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your ideas and goals with all the residents of Houston County. At this time, as we share it with the candidates, I just want to remind the candidates and the viewers that you can watch this entire forum on replay. I've been told you can watch it on Facebook, or YouTube. Just search for Warner Robins Alumni Chapter Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, and you will be able to watch this. And for the candidates, I really want to encourage, I was told that there were some questions from the audience that we did not get to, especially about critical race theory and other things. So please take the time to, on the replay, you can respond to some of those questions in the comments and share some of your thoughts and opinions. And thank you so much. We just appreciate your willingness to serve our community. Dr. Jackson.
Thank you so much for the final comments on tonight. On behalf of the Warner Robins Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and our forum co-sponsor, Black Voters Matter, thank you again to my fellow moderator, Shelby Coates, our candidates and audience for your participation in our virtual meet, the candidates town hall meeting. It is our hope that voters can make well-informed decisions as they prepare to vote during this election season. God bless.
And I just have to say quickly, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part in the invitation. I think forums like this are so needed in our community. So all the ladies who put this together, thank you so much. Everyone remember that early voting, it started on Monday, May 2nd, and it continues until May 20th. Election Day is Tuesday, May 24th. You can find your voter registration status and poll locations at this website. Make sure you get it. It's mvp.sos.ga.gov. I'm going to say it one more time so you can have all that information that you need. mvp.sos.ga.gov. Your vote is your voice. And from all of us, have a great night.
Have a great night. Thank you.